All right, now I want to talk about what is consciousness. And this is my version. You can read books, you could study with other people. This is just me and what works for me. And if it resonates with you, then it'll work with you. It'll work for you. So most of us are taught that what was it? I think, therefore I am. This is a very mind-centric thing. And the mind is a very important part of who we are as human beings, but it's only a part. Obviously we have the body, but there's a lot more going on than just the body and the mind. Some people call it the soul, which is pretty general, or the spirit. It's like, what are you going to do with that information? Not a whole lot. Body, mind, and spirit. Okay, what? What does that really mean? And even what does the mind mean? I mean, it's just generic info. So I'm going to teach you some very specific info. So our consciousness is kind of all of our energetic states, right? We've got our body, which is sort of the solid material, and then we've got how we think and feel, and those are our energetic states. And imagine in a way, like part of who we are is like this big ball of energetic states, and that's our consciousness. So for example, a lot of people do Buddhist type meditation, any kind of meditation where you're sitting and observing your thoughts. So in that kind of meditation, who's doing the observing, right? Because if there's something that can observe your mind, that thing has to be at a kind of a higher level, or at least at a different perspective. And so people generally call that your consciousness. Your consciousness, when you really sit down and listen quietly, you can observe what your mind is doing. And your mind is doing stuff. I assure you. If you sit and listen, you'll see that it's doing something. So, but inside this big ball of consciousness, like that's a little more specific. But there are other areas that are not really of the mind. Like one thing that I call it your leader state. So a leader is somebody who has this ability to resonate with and mobilize other people, at least peace-based leadership, and that's what I'm into. I'm not into war. I think war is for idiots. Idiot leaders, and only the people who think that's a good idea, they got some problems, It's where sick people go to get out of their sickness, is just creating hell. And I'm not into that. I don't teach that. My mission is to create a peace-based economy in the world and give people some alternatives to war. So in the leader state, you're not getting people to agree with you because you're going to, cut off their paycheck, or you're going to, do something bad to their physical body or anything like that. In the leader state that I'm talking about, people are aligning with you because it calls to them. And that doesn't really come from the mind, because the mind is about survival. It's about looking at the past, recording that, and then using the information you learned in the past to try to keep you safe in the future. So you could say the leader state comes from a totally different zone. In our consciousness, how do we get there? We get there really by beginning to really look and see how the mind works. And we see that the mind doesn't have the answer, like, how do I motivate 1,000 people? The mind, maybe you can read some kind of book and try to do it, but it won't really be on board with that. And it won't be something that feels natural if you're following somebody else's, step by step, say this, like, how to get a girlfriend. Well, first say this, and now you're trying to memorize a whole bunch of lines to say. And that might get you kind of off the couch, but in the end, if you don't have the confidence, and confidence is another one of those areas. Confidence is not of the mind. So if we're using mind tricks to try to become confident, that's not how it works. The mind is all about keeping you safe. So confidence is another one of those zones in this big ball. And we can look and we can say, well, I don't feel confident. It's just because we're just looking in the wrong place to find it. The mind doesn't really know where confidence exists. In the overall consciousness, we can start looking at these different parts. So, the leader state of confidence, and then something I've really been playing with lately is the state of commitment. And the commitment is really important, and yet it's so misunderstood. What is commitment really? If you look at what you do all day, you've got 24 hours. That's what you're committed to. So the idea of commitment is what we put our body to do all day. And if you're on this channel, you're probably trying to improve your life. You're trying to make some changes. Well, if you keep doing the same thing every day, you're going to get the same results every day. But the way that most people go about commitment is they try to kick themselves in their own ass. And, that works a little bit, but in the end, you're beating yourself up. So really, the kind of commitment that I have cultivated for myself and will help you cultivate if you're in my in the Make My Nut mentoring program, that kind of commitment that I want to show you, that I want to guide you to, is where suddenly it becomes effortless to do the new thing. And I've been using that with my body. I had some things I wanted to repair. It's working. And the amount of time I spend on that just keeps growing, and yet my productivity in every other part of my life also keeps growing, because I'm not kicking myself in my own ass to get out the door. I'm excited to do it now. I've been walking 10,000 steps a day now for over a whole month. It took me a month or so to ramp up to this 100% reliability with this one habit. And now I'm taking that to other habits that I want to cultivate in my life. And so that's what makes me an authority on commitment, because I only teach things that I actually succeed at and do myself, or at least have had enough success to know where the main failure points are so that you can avoid them. But in this case, my life has gotten so much better just by really exploring, how do I get things done without any resistance? And the mind is a big part of the resistance. And I say, well, yeah, but you don't have time to walk, because if you don't do that, if you walk too much, you're not going to have time to make money or whatever. And then, so that whole safety thing comes in. And again, it's the same set of issues that I described in the goal setting thing. When you give love to those things, you're not trying to suppress them. They're part of you. And so that's the essence of self-love. And the more you love the parts of you that you don't like, then the more the pure commitment starts flowing, and you can reorganize your day easily around the things that make you the most money, make you the most happy, give you the best relationships. And it just comes naturally. You don't have to read it out of a book. So, that's some introductory thoughts about the space of commitment and how to get there. So, it's the same kind of method. Just, maybe I would say, okay, I want to have this goal of walking every day, and then listening to what the mind says. You're too busy, or, this isn't going to work, or whatever. But my intuition knew it was the right thing to do. I had enough of a clue I should do this. And then once I cleared up all my resistance, suddenly it's become like, if I haven't done it, I don't even get to the point where if I haven't done it, I just do it. I don't care if it's raining out, the weather, because it's added so much value to my life. And now I'm really building on the base of health that I've created just in the past month from that. And the benefits are exponential. And that's what I want to give you, whatever your goal is, that when you touch that channel of commitment, that ease, where you're doing the thing you really want with ease, without any resistance, suddenly life just gets a whole lot better.